Hello my friends and welcome back. It's the end of the week, it's Friday. Happy Friday to you. You know, I was sober for 8 months, ever since 2020 middle to 2024 middle to 2025 March beginning. I was full sober, not a drop of alcohol. But today I'm gonna get a cold brewski with my friends because it's Friday and it's gonna contain. I'm gonna go to a party. What am I talking about? I'm gonna have fun today and I hope so will you. Ukrainians had fun in Russia because they sent a lot of drones into Russia. Ukrainian drones target 6 Russian regions overnight. Voronezh hit the hardest. Air defense shot down over 32 drones over Voronezh. Well, that's the Russian Ministry of Defense claiming that at least. 19 shot down over Saratov and 17 over Kursk. 6 were intercepted over Belgorod. 2 over Lipetsk. Yeah, they didn't shoot them down. How do we know? Because a very important Russian chemical plant was spontaneously on fire. Scientific Research Institute of Chemical Current Sources in Saratov has been struck by Ukrainian drones. The facility develops batteries and fuel cells for the Russian military. You see, Ivan, we intercept Ukrainian drone with our Scientific Research Institute building. Well, yeah, I think they shot down the drones with their own buildings. Another hit that was made almost a week ago actually was the Russian oil refinery in Kavkaskaja, Krasnodar region of Russia. And here we have a satellite image of it. I mean, why do I talk about a hit over 1 week ago? Well, my friends, because it's so damn big we cannot ignore it. Look at this satellite imagery. This is before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful white fuel silos filled with brown liquid gold or black gold, and boom, everything gone. Not only the fuel silos, look at the surrounding buildings here. Nothing is left. It was a massive explosion. And by the way, this oil facility handles 13% of the Russian crude oil transport, and it's fully out of commission. And Russians themselves say for the foreseeable future, there's no plan even to get it back online because this hit is so big. Russia has been taken over by pipe hysteria. It sounds weird, it is weird. You remember how these guys went into the Sucha gas pipeline to get into the Sucha? I mean, there are different reports of how many hundreds of Russian troops were sent into that pipeline to infiltrate behind the Ukrainian lines. Well, Ukrainians bombarded the pipeline and then destroyed everybody and took some prisoners. In this report, it says 800 Russians went in, most of them just KIA, some of them prisoners. Well, Russians have turned this magnificently stupid, dumbest of the dumb mission into this hero story. That's what they usually do. When a lot of Russians die in a stupid way on the front lines, you can be sure the other guys back home in Russia will turn this into a Nash Geroi, or Geroi Rodina, whatever it is, hero of our homeland. They went into the pipes, such heroes. It was the dumbest idea ever. It is still the dumbest idea, but the Russians are now one by one going into the pipeline to show their respect. Because they all want to die like that. And now, my friends, I gotta give you something juicy to your Friday. I'm not sure how much of this I can show, but I'll try to show as much as I can. Remember that massive attack into Crimea by Ukrainian special forces? They released additional footage on it. Let me open up some context. This is the second half of the video that they just released yesterday. Previous half we saw 1 week ago, it was magnificent. How it happened? The Ukrainian special forces put kamikaze drones on marine drones. Yes, the boats, drones. They put kamikaze drones onto those boats. They sailed, guided those boats at the behind Crimea to the place where Russians would never expect Ukrainian short-range kamikaze drone attack to come from, because nobody would reach there unless you have those drones on top of your marine drones, which the Ukrainians did. And they went from behind the Russian air defense, which was facing to the Ukrainian side. They went from the other side. And oh boy, they started eating up the radars and tanks and everything. Let's watch this. This is the second half of that video. It's just, it's good. It's so beautiful. I don't know how much of it can I watch. I hope I can. A lot of troops running around, having fun, jogging. Okay, this is just a Kamaz truck, but now we're gonna see some radars being taken out. This was a boat, by the way, probably a patrol vessel. Here we see a massive radar. Look at that. Whatever military you're in, wherever you're stationed, you see enemy having like that, a big antenna with a radar. You know that's a high value target. That is the target. That's the number one you gotta take out. Everybody knows that. And there's plenty of those to go around. Check this out. You can see here another kind of radar. This is the support vehicle, perhaps. And check this out. There's more comment. Oh wait, I gotta show you this. This is a Russian air defense missile trying to shoot down this very drone that shoots the video. Check it out. The missile goes up and explodes exactly where it was shot out. Oh my God. So the air defense vehicle destroyed itself with its own missile, and then the drone destroys the most valuable radar, which is I don't know what kind of radar that is, I'm sorry, but it has a massive antenna. That tells you enough. It's very expensive. My friends, I have decided to make 4 extra videos for you every Saturday for members only. As you can see, Russian army is addicted to trains, members first. So you will get that 1 week before everybody else. It will go public every Saturday. So become a member. It is only 99 cents. I kid you not. You couldn't go cheaper in YouTube because they don't allow you to. So it's 99 cents and you get 4 extra videos, deep dive into a topic connected to Ukrainian war. Go and check it out. By the way, this certain video, all the members have already seen, and they're discussing that already in the comments. Nobody else can discuss that. Look, these stars show that these guys are special members. And now what I do every video for the last years, whenever I was born I started doing that. I'm gonna butcher some Buy Me a Coffee monthly members who have supported this channel. George Hagerti, Tõnu Jaansoo, hei! Tõnu, eestlane, väga, meil ei ole üldse eestlasi. Absoluutselt keegi ei toeta, sa oled ainus, nii et su toetus tähendab väga palju mulle, aitäh. Jätkan tõe rääkimist ja Eesti eest võitlemist rahvusvahelisel areenil. Gatkoat, Tim Stephen Aspinall. Thank you to all of these people, and we have one Estonian. That's a very good wow. If you like my channel, the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description below. There was a meeting which is called the Coalition of the Willing. It's a very familiar term to you who remember the last 2 decades and American foreign invasions. Well, the Coalition of the Willing, in this case, is about sending troops to Ukraine as Western peacekeepers. And it doesn't include the United States of America. It includes mostly France and Britain, who are very vocal about it, that they intend to send troops. Not only troops, they're talking about maritime and air defense also. And the meeting took place. I just love this video. It's the very first one I saw about it. We see Zelensky going, and who is he gonna hug? Of course, the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb. I love the dude. I love my Finnish brothers, and definitely they understand the most what we Estonians want to say to the international arena about Russia. There is a very specific way you gotta talk to them, and that is with the fists. And that's what the Finnish understand. And you can see it in that hawk here also. I don't want to take up your time. The point is, Britain and France are leading with that coalition of the willing, who are ready to send their troops as peacekeepers to Ukraine after this war is over, or ceasefire, however it ends. It will definitely not end with the annexation of Ukraine by Russia. However it ends, Western countries to send their troops. British and French units are expected to be stationed in major cities, ports, and around critical infrastructure. I'm glad to hear it. When did we last see British troops so close to Crimea? I think it was 1850s, the Crimean British-Russian War, right? When the British actually landed near Sevastopol, and there was actually a land invasion of Crimea by the British. Soon to be part 2, my friends. I'm looking forward to it. And I saw that, I'm continuing it as like the European topic of the video. I saw that very interesting way to take down Shaheds and kamikaze drones. This is a company, Nordic Air Defense, and they're developing interceptors, 2 suicide drones. And this is what they look like. A compact radar, and this box, surprise box, opens up. Okay, it detects a drone, right? The enemy drone. Box opens up and interceptors jump out and go and intercept the drone. They're small, fast and agile, faster than the drone, and they explode the drone way away from you. Now the thing is, you say, oh, electronic warfare systems, right. Russians have begun the mass deployment of fiber optic cable drones, which means you cannot really take them down with the electronic warfare systems as we know them, the jammings, the spoofings. You cannot do that. They're connected with the wire to the drone operator. That leaves kinetic means. A shotgun in a soldier's hand, it's the last resort. It can destroy the drone, but it's very dangerous. It's like 50-50. It's very, very dangerous. So it leaves defensive systems on the trucks perhaps, or on the cars, whatever they use, that are cheap, mass-producible, and use kinetic means to take down these mass-producible FPVs. We're talking about this kind of interceptor I just showed you, or some kind of an automatic shotgun system on top of the truck that shoots 180 degrees all across the sky. Wherever it detects a drone, it aims and shoots. That's the way to do that, because electronic warfare, jamming, spoofing does not work with wired drones, because they rely on a wire, physical wire, to connect to the operator. So yeah, it's a good development I see from the Nordic countries here. Now, my friends, we go to America, land of the free, home of the brave. I will begin with this segment of the video with this. Dear leader is adding new tariffs to make all Americans wealthy. You can see the dear leader. By the way, they claim that Donald Trump will visit the surface of the sun next year, but it's too bright and too hot, so he will visit it during the night. That's better, because then he won't get burned. That's it. All of that is a joke. Now we go serious. Take it from the British Prime Minister, Mr. Trump. Trump claimed that his ceasefire has taken an effect. It works. He said, it works. The ceasefire is working. It's being held so far. No, it is not. It simply has not held, never, not for a minute. Immediately as they talked, Putin released a massive drone barrage. Don't take my word for it. Take Zelensky's, or in this instance, the British Prime Minister.
And it's now, obviously, over 2 weeks since Ukraine agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire. That offer is still unanswered. It's over a week since Putin agreed to an energy and infrastructure ceasefire.
By the way, he never agreed to it, because he said we could agree to it if you remove the sanctions. Trump then claimed that Putin agreed to it. Then Putin continued to attack Ukraine's infrastructure. It's Russians making fun of Americans. That's what it is, and they're having a blast at it.
Ceasefire. But since then, Russia has hit energy infrastructure in cities across Ukraine. They've increased their bombardment, firing over 1,000 long-range drones at the country, hitting Ukrainian...
Yeah, you get the point. I've seen it. I see it every day. I see every last hit that happens. It's schools, hospitals, energy infrastructure. There's nothing has ever changed. Trump is naive. He thinks that he has any kind of cards or power to sway Putin. But I'm going to tell you, he does. But the only card that works against the Russians is if he increases military support to Ukraine and hardens the sanctions against Russia. That actually gets Russia to the negotiation table. Nothing else, anything else, will be interpreted by the Russians as a sign of weakness, and the Russians see it as pathetic. This is how I translate it to you. Trump doesn't, unfortunately, understand it. I don't know why. Is he maybe senile? I don't know. It's so plain and obvious, everybody knows it, except for Trump. For some reason. My friends, now I have a question for you. I saw this photo. I really don't know what it is. Look, that's Trump. And these are the slabs under his feet. What's up with that? Why are there slabs under Trump's feet? Can you tell me? Because I saw it. I was like, what? I gotta ask you guys, because I have no idea what this is. Alright, now to illustrate a little bit more, because some of my viewers still have this delusion or this echo chamber that Trump is the god of the deals, is making some kind of 4D chess deal with Putin and the world. My friends, no, I bring you Kremlin's biggest military blogger that millions inside Russia watch, and a lot of people in the West also watch him. And he is very openly making fun of Americans, because he came out with this video one day after the ceasefire, after Trump came out with the statements that we made progress with Putin, we have a ceasefire, Putin gave an order to stop attacking Ukrainian LNG infrastructure. And then Rybar, Russian military blogger, comes out with this information.
In general, energy facilities, let's speak frankly, they are proceeding as they have been. It's just...
You get the, most powerful military president in the world claiming that we made progress, and immediately they come out with, we will continue attacking energy infrastructure, proceed as they... No, don't pay mind to Trump. Trump is our asset. Yeah, they don't care.
It's just that in this case, we do not turn off entire areas, but isolate the area of hostilities. This can be seen, for example, in the Dnipropetrovsk region. I'm starting to ramp...
I mean, this is Russian old military map. It matches with the Ukrainian ones that have the hits. I mean, you can see where they're sending the kamikazes. What can I say, my friends? Russians are saying that they are attacking civil energy infrastructure. Ukrainians are saying that Russians are attacking civilian energy infrastructure. The whole Europe is saying that. That's what's actually happening. And then there's Trump. I really don't know how senile or delusional he is, but he is really happy about the steps he's making with Putin, that Putin is now not attacking energy infrastructure. He is. And everybody, I don't know, it pains me to see POTUS being like far from grace. It was always my hero, the America, the great, It's inside my head, it's painful to see them fall from that position. I want them to be there. All right, on another topic, Trump has sent several different proposals for a mineral deal to Ukrainians over the past weeks, and every time they get close to signing anything, Trump just completely changes it up. This is about the third big change already. I mean, Ukrainians have already agreed to some previous forms of that deal, and Trump just changed it up. Well, they changed it up again. A new draft sent by the US on a mineral deal with Ukraine is highly unfavorable. According to, the guy, 5 people, 3 from them are from the US have the... Okay, I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to read the main points of this new deal that they're demanding from Ukraine right now. Key points. Controlled by a 5-member board, 3 of them from the US with veto power. Covers all minerals, all of them, also the future ones, by the way, that they discover. Oil, gas, new and existing deposits across Ukraine. Extraction by both state and private companies. Profits converted into foreign currency and transferred abroad. US contribution is past aid since 2022. So US will not put anything in at all, and they will get a lot of money from it. And the past aid is considered what they have given. And by the way, now I see some comments, some MAGA people comment, yeah, US has given 500 billion to Ukraine. Now, I know the facts. I'm inside this world for like 2.5 years. I know everything that goes and comes with this information. US has sent to Ukraine about close to 60 billion worth of equipment. The rest of the money of the 150 billion that US has overall sent has been spent in the US, on the US soil. This money has been spent to create new jobs, create new weapons that will be used in the US, and the old ones were sent. So, like, the money that actually has been spent to Ukraine or in Ukraine is 60 billion. And the minerals underneath Ukraine, they're worth massively more than 60 billion. So this is just a colonial deal. There's nothing else. Just get Ukraine as a colony for minerals. No expiration date, changes only with the US approval. US has priority rights on new infrastructure, can veto sales to other nations. No security guarantees to Ukraine. Well, the main point of this mineral deal, which is indeed really bad for Ukraine, is, okay, maybe they want to make a bad deal, but they would get a good thing, which is United States security guarantees. But Trump destroyed all of that. They destroyed their invisible security guarantees. I mean, all of Europe, when you're buying an F-35, you're not only buying the F-35, you're buying the security guarantees that US will be there with the maintenance and supply chain and the protection of democracy. When those guarantees are taken off, it's just a very good plane, a very expensive plane, but it's just a plane. Europeans were never buying just a plane. We were buying America, the biggest, the greatest country in the world. If that is gone, Trump is dismantling that. You don't want to buy that expensive plane anymore. Now, my friends, we go to a sad note. I have to report on this. I hate it, but I have to. 4 United States soldiers are unalived in Lithuania in the part of an exercise. Now, Lithuania and the Baltics in general, they have a lot of bogs and marshes. Estonia has also, and we have fully integrated them into our defensive system because the same will happen to Russians. What happened really is these U.S. troops with recovery vehicle, armored recovery vehicle, were driving into a marsh or a bog, and they just fell in. They were discovered now under some water and peat and everything. Maybe these US troops are not familiar how marshes and bogs work with very heavy vehicles, because if you go in with a tank, even with whatever you want to go in with, you will sink. Usually, I mean, the Baltic's armies knows this, and these marshes and bogs, you can only traverse them with your feet. Just you, as a person. You cannot put any machinery on that. And that's integrated into our defense against Russians, because they will be submerged. I mean, we're still taking out German and Russian tanks from our bogs nowadays. So yeah, I guess the troops didn't know that. They drove into a bog and they submerged, and now they're gone. And I'm very sorry for the families of these 4 soldiers. Nothing more to say. My condolences, really. All right, I gotta jump back to Donald Trump and his efforts to destroy everything America has stood for the last 80 years. Trump signed into effect 25% tariffs on cars and car parts imported to the US. This is going to be extremely painful for American customers, because what is the nation that loves the cars the most in the entire world and buys the most cars in the entire world? It's the US. They want them, they want international import, they want the European cars, they want the Japanese cars, they want Italian sports cars. They're all imported. Some are made in the US, some factories are set up there. But, you're supposed to say now, okay, these forces, these car makers to set up shop in the US. But it doesn't work like that. I'm gonna read you one paragraph to illustrate how these tariffs can just backfire in a way you would never expect them to. Nearly half of the cars sold in the US are imported, and Trump's 25% tariff will add at least $6,000 to the sticker price of the average car, industry experts say. Domestic auto producers will be able to jack up their sticker prices because the new tariffs will make US automakers face considerably less price competition from imported cars. So, the guys who are making cars in the US and not hurt by these tariffs, they can still jack up their prices because they don't have competition anymore. The capitalist system has cheap prices because there's so many competitors who force the price to go low. This is what market economy is. If you remove that by putting up massive tariffs, you remove the competition, so the few companies who are in the US, they can make a cartel deal or whatever deal they want to make to jack up the prices. They don't have to. The tariffs don't affect them, but they can do it because there's no competition. So in this case, it's just more money to the companies who are actually in the US making the cars. And in any way, it's less money for the consumer, less money for the American consumer. It's gonna hurt the regular person in America. It's not going to hurt foreign car companies so much or domestic car companies. It's going to hurt the American consumer. Now, a very interesting situation. Putin is just playing around with Trump. He has so much fun doing it. We know how the Russian foreign negotiation playbook works. They have not changed a thing in the last 100 years. It's exactly the same, and we can see it because they follow right now with Trump the exact same points on the line that is written in the book. It is a book about it, actually. So, Putin says that, and I quote, already in the 60s of the 19th century, the American administration considered the possibility of annexing Greenland and Iceland. But the idea was not supported by Congress at that time. And then Putin goes on to say that, they wanted it, and they got Alaska, and all the history. The point is, with this monologue, Putin is endorsing Trump's plan to attack its allies and annex Greenland. The thing is, when you see Putin endorse United States president's ideas, you know something is up. Putin is playing the game, giving the support to Trump. Trump needs allies right now. He really looks up to Putin, and then Putin is in a position of strength and he can manipulate wherever he wants to go. This is just exactly part of Russian Foreign Ministry's playbook of how to play an enemy that is bigger and more powerful than you. They're doing it wonderfully. And unfortunately, Trump is exactly in the pit, in the shooting zone, in the kill zone, kill box for the Russians. If we're talking about diplomacy. Really painful. And then to illustrate even more how the current US administration has no idea what they're doing, I bring you Marco Rubio.
Russians wants. What we have here is an agreement in principle on a Black Sea ceasefire. We got two things from that. The first is we have more detailed.
I see a career politician taking it so seriously, while all the Russians see is massive signs of weakness. Russians are very primitive. You talk, they attack you. You attack them, they respect you. That's what it is. You show muscles, they respect. You talk, they attack. Marco Rubio loves to talk. Donald Trump is talking with the Russians. They are sending signals to the Russians, and the Russians follow this playbook for the last century, that you can do what you want. We're talking about a ceasefire. There's no ceasefire. Putin immediately sending massive missile attacks into Ukraine to show that they are now stepping forward while the US is stepping backward. But it pains me to see US administration, current administration, just demonstrate time and time again their delusions of how Russian foreign diplomacy works. They have no idea. By the way, now I'm going to jump back to United States tariffs on Europeans, because this guy puts it really great, actually. And it doesn't make any sense, even if you say tariffs are meant to, in the long term, set shop in the US. It doesn't work like that. The tariffs on Europe will be the most R word. Just wait. US sells Europe 800 billion per year of 50% profit margin tech software and financial services. Europe sells US 900 billion per year of 5% profit margin Volkswagen and wine. And Trump is complaining that Europe is set up to, take advantage of the US. The thing is, US sells software and tech massive profit margins to the EU, which if EU tariffs that, the US is screwed. But Europe sells US only. Our profit margins are so slim. Volkswagen, they're not doing that good actually for the last 10 years, and we're selling that to the US. And wine, they sell us massively expensive weapons, tech software, and everything else. US stuff is expensive. Everybody knows that. And we are buying because, as I said before, we're not buying a thing. We're buying the United States as an idea. If you have US as a trade partner, you also get that invisible "we will protect you" thing. We will protect democracy and all trade partners and allies. Now you don't get that. You might not want to buy the most expensive version of that thing that we're supposed to get. Now we jump to Canada, talking about US and its allies. I bring you Canadian Prime Minister, what he has to say, how Canada will react in the future to Trump's aggressiveness towards his country.
And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight the US tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of our own that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impacts here in Canada. With time, it will become apparent that these actions will end up hurting American workers and American consumers. I reject any attempts to weaken Canada, to wear us down, to break us so that America can own us. That will never happen. Let's be clear. We're all on the same page.
Just to illustrate yet another unforeseen effect of when US destroys its standing with its allies, It is not, Trump sees only numbers on the paper, okay? We export, we import green and red countries of where we have the surplus or, you know, that kind of stuff. As I illustrated many times, the world is not buying American stuff because only it's good, because it's really expensive. We're buying these security guarantees. We're buying America as a system. We're buying the dollar. We're buying the fact that everybody is afraid of America who is not a friend of America. We are a friend, we're buying that. We're buying the protection of umbrella, and this is why we all keep up the American-led system. If Trump destroys that, I will illustrate here now how like secondary effects that nobody thinks about will hurt American companies. Forward bookings from Canada to the US have fallen by more than 70% for each month through the end of September. We're talking plane tickets. Canadians don't want to travel to America anymore compared to the same period last year. 296,000 bookings, down from 76% from 1.3 million. And to illustrate this point even further, you might say, we don't even want them. Well, you do, my friends, because Canadians are rich compared to the rest of the world. They are rich, and they bring, as tourists, massive amount of money into America, into these places where they go to have fun and to rest. If that money goes away, yeah, I know, I mean, nothing will happen. Businesses will not go bankrupt in America because of it, but it hurts them. It hurts. Let's take a small bar in Miami where Canadians go and make up about maybe 15% of their income. If they're gone, okay, they get 15% less. They will not go bankrupt, but it hurts a lot. Trump's tariffs just hurt a certain bar in Miami for 15% less income. And these examples are endless of secondary effects that nobody has foreseen. Let's take, for example, United States revenues from Walmart in Canada. Spiteful Canadians are about to take 14,000 jobs from Americans and cost the United States $2 billion as a result of their massive boycott against the American industry in response to President Trump and Elon Musk.
This is how Walmart looked like in Coburg, Ontario.
I can't show it because of the music, maybe I can only show the video. The point is, Walmart, right? It's a very successful American chain. It's the biggest store, stuff like that. It's part of the American system. It's a massive store chain. They have thousands of locations. If they lose revenue, it's going to hurt Americans and going to hurt the system. It's a secondary effect of people just not wanting to buy from Walmart anymore. I'm sure Trump did not take that into account, and that is just one drop of what Canadians, for example, or Europeans are not doing anymore. That puts money into America. There's massive secondary effects of that nobody has taken into account, that you cannot put on paper. That we all want to listen to American music, that we all want to, there's massive amount of McDonald's here. We have massive amount of stuff in Europe that puts money in America. If people boycott that, because they just don't want to see the rules-based order being destroyed by Trump, that is going to cost America billions in the end. That cannot be put into any algorithm that Trump has looked at or any report. I don't know if I make my point clear, but what I'm saying is these secondary effects amount up to tens of billions of lost revenue. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching. Thank you for trusting your time with me. I promise not to waste it. And you will see another video actually tomorrow, because I said members get 4 extra videos per month. Every Saturday you get an early access to these videos, and every Saturday they will go public for everybody else also. But join up as a channel member. It's cheap as hell. Cannot go any cheaper, and you will get 4 in-depth analysis of Ukrainian war topics. Until my next video, Saturday and then Monday, be sure to be back. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.